Hey guys, so today we'll see how to get the on hand. So what we're going to do here is, so when you go to inventory management here, you go to on hand list. Okay, so this is open now. So we'll select any random item here. So let's say this one. So I'll click on apply here. Let me do here. Okay, so here if you see, this particular item number 100 is currently second. So let me expand this here. So if you see, the available physical is 410. Okay, now as soon as I will click on this button dimension, and let me say site and warehouse. Okay, yeah, so if you see this particular item, like in site number 113, the total quantity available is 410. So by the help of code, we'll see how we can get the on hand inventory of the item. So for that, I will go to Visual Studio. I will create a runnable class. So let me create a new project here. I'll say here runnable jobs. Click on create. So I will create the class now. I'll create a runnable class. Let me say on hand. So job name would be on hand. Yeah, so there is a class called InventOnHand. So I will initialize. So I will just simply create a object of this class. So InventOnHand. So if you will use this function available physical, so by this you could get the exact same, the on hand physical availability of the item, but we need to you know uh, provide data to this particular class. So for that, first of all, what we'll do, we'll start from scratch. We'll declare a variable named as, we'll declare a variable named as item ID. Here I will, so my item number is 1000. Okay, so my item number is 1000 here. So I have to find my item ID here. Now, what? So there is a table called InventDim. InventDim. I will simply define this class InventDim. Save this. So here we'll say InventDim dot invent site ID, because we need the data from our site number. So the site was 1 and the warehouse was 13. So I'll say InventDim dot invent location ID equals to 13. Okay, so here if you see, now we have defined the invent site ID and invent location ID. So now what we'll do, we'll say invent on hand this particular class, and we'll initialize this class. Say invent on hand. So I will use a function called new parameters. So inside this function I need item ID. I already have my item ID available. I need the invent name. I already have the invent name, and I have also initialized this. But here I need invent dim parameter. The parameters for my inventory dimension. So I need to define that table. So I will simply say invent dim invent dim param parameter class. So I will simply define object. Okay. Now, so this particular table, that is invent dim parameter, I can initialize this class. So there's a function called invent init from invent dim. This one here I could simply pass buffer of my invent dim. So this one. So I can simply copy this. I will close this. Okay. Now I have everything available here. So we need item ID first. So item ID is already available here. I will simply say item ID, and then I have my inventory dimension table already available. So I will simply say invent dim, and then I need the buffer of invent dim parameter. So I do have that as well here, and here I have initialized it. So I will say invent dim parameter. Okay, I will simply close this. Okay, so now what I will do, I will simply display this one. So I will simply use info str fmt. I will say total on hand for item. Total on hand is here. I will get this, and I will say for item I will close this. So here I will get invent on hand physical, and the second one I will simply display item ID. Now I will close these two braces. Yeah, so guys, the build is completed now, and now when I run this class, so we are getting the accurate information, that is the on hand is 410 and the item ID is 1000. So let me go back to on hand form again. Okay, so my on hand form is here. So we check this item. So let me click on apply here. So here if you see, we are exactly getting the same output. So I will reiterate the code here. So the main logic was, there's a class called InventOnHand, and that have a function called available physical function, by which you could easily get the physical quantity of your on-hand stocks. But you need to initialize this class. So to initialize this class, we use the new parameters here. Like there's a function called new parameters, but this function needs three parameters, that is item ID. So we already know we are looking for this Surface Pro, like the item ID is 1000. Then we need to pass an inventory dimension table. So we declare our inventory dimension table. Then we initialize our site and warehouse, that is 1 and 13. So if you go here, click on this dimension, and here you go, So your site is 1 and the warehouse is 13. So I simply provided that information. Then I pass the buffer of my inventory dimension here. And we also need one more table, that is inventory dimension parameter. Okay, so we initialize this class using this function of this class, and we simply pass the buffer of our inventory dimension. That's it. So once we are done, so if you want other fields like this one, so you could also get the other fields. So there are multiple functions that are available into this class. So even if you type here InventOnHand dot, so see available, ordered, financial, reservation, available, total. So you could use all this information. And even if you want to segregate the on hand, for example, let's say if this particular item, in site number 1 there could be multiple warehouses, so you can simply change the inventory dimension buffer and then pass, so that will get you the exact on hand of that particular site and as well as the exact warehouses. So thank you for watching this video.